Yo, what's up, people? Welcome to another episode of Let Me Shoot My Shot with yours truly, Griff. I'm in the building. Just want to let y'all know we got a nice little show lined up for you today. We got a special guest that'll be on the phone with us in just a little bit. This brother is out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Mr. Lamont Golightly. This brother he's been in the industry, the film photography industry. So he's gonna come on and he's gonna kind of give you some insight of how he shot his shot, what success means to him as far as shooting his shot and stuff like that. But yeah, we got a little just a little short jam-packed show for y'all today. So kind of stay tuned, stay in, you know what I'm saying? If you got questions or comments or anything, go ahead and we'll meet y'all in the comments as far as everything is concerned with this show here. So just want to welcome y'all back to the Let Me Shoot My Shot podcast. All right, y'all, what's going on? Like I said, I'm Griff, and we have our guest on the line, Mr. Lamont Golightly. Lamont, are you on?
Yes, sir.
Hey, first of all, thank you. I appreciate you coming on the show this evening. To kind of talk with us, kind of talk with the people, let the people know how you shot your shot in your business and in the industry and stuff like that. So they can kind of get a little insight, kind of let them know where you're from. So kind of, introduce yourself and let the people know where you're from, man.
Okay. My name is Lamont Golightly. I'm with Cityville Videos. I'm a Worcester, Massachusetts native, but I love the South. I've been here over 21 years now. And it's phenomenal out this way. And I just love what I do. I love the art of videography, photography. And one of my key things is just networking, meeting new friends, and different ideas, forming new teams. Yep.
Okay, so are there any kind of projects that you worked on that you want to tell anybody about?
Music videos, fashion shoots, portrait videos, and commercials, documentaries, sports, behind the scenes.
Okay,
You name it.
All right.
Weddings.
So you've done quite a bit. So let me ask you this. Because there's a lot
Hard
of
to document.
This is true. You got a lot of people out there, a lot of these young guys, and I know in your field and in your industry, there's a lot of people that you probably run across that want to be photographers or are inspiring photographers, but don't know exactly how to, I guess, take that leap or get in the business. What could you share with them as far as how you shot your shot to get to doing what you were doing?
Whoo! I know. Some of it is trials and tribulations. You know what I'm talking about. Sometimes we gotta. Man. As far as let me break this. As far as equipment or just fundamentals.
Well, what inspired you to what actually inspired you to say, you know what, I'm gonna take this leap. And I'm gonna start my own videography business or photography business. Like, What did you
You know
do?
what?
What were the steps? If you had to talk to a young high school student that you know was trying to start something similar, what would you say to them on how you shot your shot?
Well, I started with my friends and family. I tried to document as much information of my family, my friends, and I. And then in high school we had a TV production crew, but we would just go out and just do random stories and things like that. But um, man, that's tough.
I mean, just
Man.
let people know how you got, because see, that's one of the things, and I just go ahead and kind of throw myself in the mix.
Okay, okay. I started truthfully. I started with my friends, families, and I want to say it was my family members' wedding, and that was the jump. I just said, you know what, man, I like this, and then somebody saw their video, and it went to that person. Then the next thing, it went from a teacher I had back in the days. Then it went back to my boss, and then before you know it, it's just everywhere. You just got to go out there. Um, just it's a I don't know how to
I
describe it in
mean, I
so
mean,
many
just, I
ways.
mean, just describe it. I look at it as if like okay, so I'm gonna give you an example. Like I told several people, and you kind of helped me out with this one day, because we
Mm.
talk. Um,
Uh huh.
we was on the phone, and like I've always explained, I've had podcast equipment set up for probably over a year. I was supposed to be doing something different. I was going to incorporate my son and my nephew into kind of help producing their podcast while doing my own,
Right.
and that never really materialized. So what I did was it sat and it sat and it sat, and I ended up upgrading some stuff and whatnot. And one day, I was playing around. And I got everything like how I wanted it in order for me to make it happen. And
Mm-hmm.
then I called you up and we were talking. And I said, hey, oh yeah, I got this. And the conversation had gotten so good that I said, this is a podcast, right? He was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So
And I
we
said we podcast every
right, we
day.
podcast every day. So it was at
It's just
that
not.
point we were still on the phone, and I was like, you know what? I just hit record. I didn't even tell you. I had just hit record, and we were recording. And what was so funny was I actually used that as part of like my intro reel to kind of introduce stuff. So that was the
Uh-huh.
nervousness, is like once I got the clips and got everything uploaded, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna send it out. I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna post the clips. I'm gonna introduce my podcast, because I had already did a video early in the week, right?
Uh-huh.
To basically introduce the podcast and give the date and the time and everything. And I never released it. I'm not sure why I never released it, but I never did release it. So that day, I think it was like 2 days, because I was supposed to release that footage on Monday, and the podcast was actually supposed to start that Monday. So that day, when I didn't release it till probably like 2 days later. I think like a Wednesday. I'm not sure. Y'all can probably go back on my page and kind of look. But I released it that afternoon, and
Uh-huh.
I got a great response from it. So that's what I mean when I say, what, like, when did you break out of your shell to say, I'm gonna shoot my shot at this? And I guess you kind of put it kind of in the mix a little bit, as far as like when you did somebody's wedding, I think you said. So
Yes. And then I take it back. When I did my first two music videos, And from there, it was just word of mouth, and people started seeing the work, and then upgrading equipment. And then you said something to me too. It's oh my words, that was unique. When you said, "Oh yeah, I have that Rokin on," I said, "Oh man, so you understand the meaning of shooting manual?" And it just the look of things. Once I saw different glass and everything, I said, "Man, I like this. This looks cinematic. It looks like a movie. I gotta keep doing it." And then networking, talking to people. That's that really. That's I think that's a big factor too. And
I
then
I
sometimes
feel that.
going out there and there was a few things. I think there was two videos I done. I said, "Hey man, I'll do it for free," because I used to DJ, so I know a lot of the a couple of artists here. And I said, "Hey man, I'll do your video for free." And then from there, it helped YouTube, all that stuff. But yeah, you got to get out there and do it. Because at first, I didn't want to do it. I just wanted to take pictures because it was my major. I said, you know what? I said, why can't my videos look like my pictures? And then just kept messing around, playing with stuff and researching. And then I've always loved art. And then, like I said, you shoot different too. Unique. That light, the
Well,
flash.
for most of y'all who don't know,
Oh man, I wasn't supposed to say that.
he
Oh man.
references me. He's been referencing me, and most of y'all, I have a love. I am a photographer, but
Uh
I'm
huh.
starting this podcast is really not about my photography business. It's really about I help encouraging those who don't know the avenue of how to shoot their shot, where to go, what to do, who to talk to, what moves to make. Cause you'd be surprised, even as a photographer or anything, even with DJs, um, you
Yeah.
know, people who I guess who bake or whatever the case may be, when they run into another person that does their craft and another person that has the passion that they have in their craft, you'd be surprised how many people come together to help one another. I knew of a an individual. She had her own, you know, um, bakery, and she was doing cakes, custom cakes and cupcakes. But she always found time to meet with other people who was doing her craft, so that way she can better and get better at, or something that she didn't know how to do, she could,
Right.
they could collab together, and she could
Yeah.
learn. It's almost like you learn together, so, that kind of thing. So, what would you say was the most challenging, part about, starting your business, starting your videography, photography? What did you say the most challenging part was for you, and how did you
Um,
overcome that?
advertising and just getting out there. Um, a lot of things. Sometimes I was like, oh man, am I charging too much? Am I doing this too much? But advertising, cleaning up your Facebook, your Instagram, promoting, and YouTube is like out of all of them, whew, it's like going back to school. But
Yeah,
it's worth it.
there's a wealth of knowledge on YouTube. You can go to YouTube, but I think, and I'm gonna speak from my photography field standpoint. When you go on YouTube and you pick some of these videos, you start seeing
Hmm.
people with this equipment, and
Oh, here we go. Oh yeah, go ahead, preach.
A
Preach,
photographer told
preach,
me.
preach,
A
preach.
photographer told me one time before. It's not about the equipment that a person had. It's about the person behind the equipment. And I find that to be true because a
Facts,
lot of us,
facts.
especially, I've shot with a lot of young kids from in
Hmm.
high school, and most of them go, "Man, I want that," but that doesn't mean that you're not good. Equipment doesn't
Right.
make you good. Equipment doesn't make you great. You make the equipment good, and you make the equipment great. You got to be a great shooter. You got to understand those fundamentals and getting over those
Right.
humps. So
Yes.
yeah, every camera is not the same because the makeup is different. The
That's right.
the settings and some of the specs and the cameras, these cameras are different. It's the same thing, even with
Oh,
a podcast show.
oh no,
Like,
I thought you got no, I thought you was taking it there because we talked about this for hours, and they are different. It's the color, Kodaks, or like I shoot with Sony, you like Canon, and
well,
Canon.
every
If I have
camera,
on a red shirt and you shoot me in a red shirt, well, the picture's gonna come out red. With Sony, it just sometimes they improve, but you still gotta go in there and tweak it.
right,
Like you gotta dumb your camera down.
and every camera has pros and every camera has cons. That's in everything we do. It's up to us as individuals
Right.
and what we're doing to overcome those uh,
Yeah.
obstacles. You got to know how to
Yeah.
overcome those obstacles. You can't let
That's
those
right.
things get you down because if you do, then all they're going to do is they're going to prevent you from furthering what you're trying to do. So,
Yeah.
and you know, in those cases, man, it's it's not easy, but it's not difficult, but it's not difficult, but it's not easy. You just gotta have that
Right.
mindset to go ahead and say, hey, this is what I do. This is how I'm gonna move forward. This is how I'm gonna accomplish this. And don't be afraid to call somebody. Never be afraid to call
Right.
somebody because that is the only way you can achieve or get to the next level is,
Yeah. And I
with the help of somebody else.
yeah. And I would say this, just like the well, the teacher didn't do that, but I mean back then, shoot, music videos back in the days, Cypress Hill, Nas, nobody had a Canon and a Sony back then. Well, they did, but it was a camera. A lot of that stuff was manual focus. And if you can learn the basics, you'll come out a lot better. I'm telling you. You can do a lot of shortcuts.
Well,
You really
video
can.
editing now is very simple. Um,
Yeah,
Especially for content creating, things of that
that's right.
nature. So it varies. It varies
Hmm.
throughout depending on what you want to do. Even doing this podcast and it varies. So, you just gotta make sure that you set yourself up, no matter what it is you're doing, you set yourself up for success. So with me
Yeah.
saying that, this leads into my next question for what I want to ask you is like, as far as you are concerned and what you do as a photographer or videographer, what do you
Uh
see
huh.
or what do you feel success is for you? Because everybody has different levels of success. So
Oh man.
what do you feel your level of success is when you're working, or how do you feel you're climbing the ladder to your level of success?
Oh yeah. Last year. Last year. I didn't think somebody was gonna fly me miles and miles away to just do a project for them, and I thought that was a change. That was one step, and then um other videographers they complimented me on online, and These are YouTubers. I forgot to tell you that, brother. YouTubers, doing sponsors for like different types of lens, and I'm just like, oh yeah, great. What lens did you use for that video? I was like, this guy inboxed me. That right there. That right there. If I can at least, okay, 4 weddings, 2 fashion shows, 3 commercials. Um, and for some reason nowadays everybody wants a videographer for their birthday. I don't complain about it, but full birthday parties last year was banging. But yes, I see a shift in it, and man, I love it.
So getting the opportunity to do, because
Big events,
you
yes sir.
well, it's a big thing when somebody say, "Hey, I'm gonna fly you out. I'm gonna take care of your travel and your room accommodations." When they want you to
Yes,
really, really shoot. So, I mean,
yes,
that can be a form of saying, "Hey, man, I'm moving up that ladder of success." Because most of the times when you hear
yes.
people, "Oh, I want to use you. Well, how much you charge?" Well, what got to go in there. It's,
Right,
it's it's not just your price that you charge for you doing your work. There's per diem
right.
to have for travel. There's per diem for hotel accommodations. There's per diem to be fed.
That's right.
So when you have a client that's going to take care of those things for you, man, that's an
Hmm.
absolute plus. That is
Yeah,
a
and no,
absolute
and
huge plus.
yes, sir. And I was going to tell those that are listening too. I know there's moments when we have. It doesn't matter. It could be turntables. It could be podcast equipment, and you're down, and you're just like, oh man, I'm not doing nothing. That one camera I had that I was going to bring to the store, I done filmed one, two, three celebrities. They was by, they was in front of that glass, and I would not get that camera away now. I'm just like, wow, I didn't think it was gonna happen that quick. So you never know who you're gonna come across. You really don't know, and it's a good feeling when you're out there in the field. And they're like, oh yeah, can I see that? And you've been there, brother. Don't try to act like you haven't. And they look at it and they're like, oh wow, that came out good. That right there, you know what I mean? That feeling. Wait, you playing with your family, or you playing on the basketball team. You make that 3 point shot, or you break someone's ankle. You know your face, your grill. You know you got that grin on your face, and you try to keep that straight face. So you get, yeah. I done that a lot. I was
well,
like, oh
well,
man. I said I'll be right back.
those are different levels of someone else
Yeah,
letting you know how
but keep elevating. Don't
successful
give up.
you. Right. That's the key. Keep elevating. Always keep learning. Always. No matter what it
Yeah.
is that we do, especially in the day and age of um electronics. Like,
Yes.
you got to stay on top of the game so much because there's
Yeah.
always
And
something
when
new coming out.
right,
Always.
and and I forgot to tell you this too. When I said my children, well, family members, friends. Well, that one family member was my mother, because I had moved down here from my previous marriage, and she got sick. She couldn't fly or drive that far. So what she would do is, Lamont, you got that camera down there, record the kids, send me a DVD. Because back in the days, you could burn it on a CD-ROM, and I would mail it to her. And she just kept me motivated. So when the kids are just riding their bicycles, just doing, you ought to see. We want to get up. I got a special hard drive here. It has all that, but it's it's storytelling. It's I just tell everybody, just you and I, we both said it's our medicine. I love it.
Well, I always believe that
But you an entrepreneur.
You
Man.
always have to love what you do.
Yes.
Period. You gotta love what you do.
Yeah.
Um,
And
I
you know what I love to do. And my birthday's this week, so I'm not asking for much, but I'm just reminded you.
well, let me see what I can do. Um, but I always tell people when you love what you do, it's really not work,
That's right.
and I mean that cold hearted.
Hmm.
If you love what you do, it is actually not work. It's not, and you can get so accustomed to doing it that you don't even realize the amount of time that you put into it because you're so busy enjoying what you do. So that's one of the greatest things about when you um, when you start something and when you love what you do. So you know, I find that to be a key piece to being
Hmm.
successful. That to me, and this is just me personally, I find that to be a piece to being successful, and that's loving what you do. As long
Oh
as
yeah.
love what you do, you'll never be working. Before you know it, you be like, yeah, I was only supposed to be here 2 hours, and next thing you know, you there longer than that. So you know,
Right.
but
In my weddings, I always turn it. People say, "Oh man, it looks like you just have fun. You made our day. The day was hectic." I said, "Oh no, this is your day. I'm working for you guys." I said, "Nah, man, go ahead, sit down." I said, "I'm gonna get this one shot." You know,
one shot is all it takes. That's why it's called
you
"Let Me Shoot My Shot," man. You gotta remember every time you do something that you want to do, you're shooting your shot to the next level of success. You're shooting your shot.
know.
So always remember, never be scared.
No,
I know this sounds easy and simple, but never be
no,
scared because I'm gonna refer
yeah,
you back to this. I was scared. And man, once I got this footage together and got it chopped up, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna post it. And I was so nervous because I didn't, the biggest thing is when we start something, especially nowadays in today's world, is the simple fact that um, social media will have you doubting yourself because when we put something out there,
Oh, did you say filters?
not
Did
really
you say
not
this?
filters, but social media
this
just have you doubting what you're gonna put out there because we're putting it out there, and it's almost like we're putting ourselves out there to be judged, right?
right.
Because it's our peers,
And
it's people that we met that's following us, it's our own peers that's following us, it's family that's following us, it's friends that's following us. So, of course, naturally, we want everybody, and I don't care what anybody say. This is just my personal opinion. We want everybody to like what we put out. And a lot of times that's not gonna happen. And that was my issue. But I hit the button,
yeah.
and once I released it out there into the internet world and social media, there wasn't no coming back.
Excuse me. I'm sorry.
There wasn't no coming back. So being confident in what you do, being confident in the work
Oh,
that you put out.
you already jumped in that water. You
Yeah,
had your
you
feet dangling the whole time. Oh man, it's cold. It's cold.
well, once you in, you
You
in.
good to get-
Once you
Yeah.
in, you in, baby. Ain't no coming back from it. Ain't no coming back from it. So, you know, Lamont, that's gonna be all of our time. I really.
Oh, wait a minute. I got one more thing. One more thing.
Go ahead.
And when you said once you what you love to do, well, at my weddings or at
Mm-hmm.
these events, I got my T-shirt on, the Cityville T-shirt, and knowing you probably done this too. And you're like, man, this guy, man, he just works me to death. That's my line all the time. I said, man, I never get a break. These people, they work at me. I said, here's the card here. Well, what's your name, sir? So I can give you, I put it in a good word for you. My name's Lamont Golightly. And they look at the card and they're like, man, this is your company. That's how I love doing that.
But you know what?
Or when my wife, yeah.
You shot your shot. You shot your shot.
Uh-huh.
Believe it or not, you shot your shot when you actually gave that card out, and the people said, "Oh, this is your company." Yeah, yeah, it's mine.
Yeah.
So anytime you do anything, and I'm gonna leave the people with this, and I'm gonna let you say your last piece. Always be confident in what you do, because to me, whenever
Right.
I do something, only I do it as good as anybody else. And I look at it as when I do it, can nobody do it better than me? So why not?
And your biggest challenger is yourself.
It's yourself. You're your biggest. I'm in competition with me every time I step out there. I'm not in competition with nobody else. Doing this podcast, I'm not in competition with nobody else doing a podcast. I'm in competition with me. When I pick up a camera, I'm in competition with me. No matter what it is I'm doing, I'm in competition with me. So if you don't take nothing else from this podcast today, do know that when you are doing whatever it is that you want to do, you are in competition with yourself. Right. That's it. You're your biggest competitor. You are your biggest critic. Not the person that's next to you. Not the person that's already doing it. You are the biggest competitor to yourself. All right. Yo, Lamont, yeah. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you coming out.
You reaching out.
Hopefully, you can either join us in the studio next time or on video. But once again, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. But let me shoot your shot. This is your boy Griff. Once again, check us out on all streaming platforms. All right. Appreciate it, Lamont. Thank you, everyone.
All right.